They go again, despite Bato being reluctant. And yet again, Bato scores another screamer. But this time, Isagi realizes that Bato has perfected his technique. This is what he needed to learn as well. He knew now that Bato could score from 23 meters if he was given the chance, so he decides to restrict him from getting into that range. However, Bato again surprises him by scoring a 27-meter screamer. Never reveal your ultimate skill. Isagi thanks Bato for helping him, even though all Bato did was humiliate him. The game then begins the next day, and Team Z is surprisingly well prepared. They manage to avoid letting Mikage and Nagi dribble past them and prevent Zantetsu from getting into his long-range shooting. Isagi then gets the ball and plays a long ball toward Gagamaru, who makes a shot and misses, barely. They are all fired up until the ball lands at Mikage's feet. He glances once at Nagi and launches a ball toward the goal, a ball so overplayed that the whole Team Z lets it go. But Nagi doesn't give it up. He ends up scoring a brilliant goal out of nowhere. That was the difference in class between the two teams. Team Z tries to shake it off and start an attack, but again, the ball is stolen away and finds its way to Nagi. This time, the guy is surrounded though. Surely he couldn't score, is what everyone thinks. But he surprises everyone yet again by pulling off a bicycle kick out of nowhere. It was all too easy for a genius like him. 2-0 down, and this time, Isagi tries to release Chigiri, their new secret weapon. But it turns out that Zantetsu is as fast as Chigiri and can cover all his moves. The man swipes the ball from Chigiri and launches a counter, scoring a phenomenal goal from far out. Team Z is devastated. They seem to have lost even before the first half was over. Their chance of victory was wearing thin, and so was the enthusiasm of the entire team. Everyone is disappointed, but Bachida is pumped up. He's excited that he's facing such an incredible team and wants to show that he can do incredible things too. Since only something magical could turn their games now, he decides to show off his hidden potential as the monster inside of him screams. Bachida gets the ball from Isagi and dribbles past everyone on the field. He amazes even the opponents with his skills and scores with a Rabona in this pressure situation. The team finally gets pumped up again. They know now that all they have to do was go above and beyond their limits and play like there was no second chance and find their true hidden ability. The ball then goes to Kunigami, and he knows that he can score if he gets the ball in a 23-meter range. But the area before him is crowded, and he has to take the shot now. He decides to trust his abilities and shoots from 28 meters out. The ball whizzes past the defenders and turns at the very last moment and enters the net, making the score 3-2. Heading into the second half, Team Z is still in the game with the score at 3-2. They are confident that they can win, and so is Team V. Team V decides to continue their attack, but the defense will be increased by one more player, with Zantetsu dropping back. The second half begins, and Isagi is the only one who hasn't really gotten a grip on the game yet. While all of his teammates are making brilliant blocks, saving the shots from entering their goal, he is still unsure if he can ever score and go beyond his limitations. The ball then reaches Chigiri, and Zantetsu is his marking man. Chigiri realizes that he cannot beat Zantetsu in a foot race in a short distance, since his ability is boosted by acceleration. So Chigiri makes a 10-meter pass ahead to himself, knowing that at the longer distance he can beat the man. He does just that, then races past the defenders, scoring the equalizing goal for his team. The score was 3-3. And just like Japan in this World Cup, coming together and equalizing in the second half, this game is not over. The ball lands at Mikage's feet, who's shocked by the fact that the worst team in Blue Lock is actually competing with them, and with 10 men at that. He remembers his past and how his parents always treated him like a baby, spoon-feeding him everything. He wanted to do something on his own strength, and that was football. Nobody would take that from him. However, when he looks around, he sees no space that he can utilize. His team is just as shocked as he is, and there seem to be no attacking options. At this rate, they would lose. Nagi, who's by the post waiting for the ball to arrive, notices Mikage's sad and dejected face. Suddenly, something clicks in him as well. It's like his abilities had finally awakened. He realizes that If he does nothing, their team will lose, and it would be the first time that they would suffer a loss. Earlier, he didn't care what happened, but suddenly his passion for football is ignited by the idea of losing. Uncharacteristically, Nagi drops back and asks for the ball from Mikage, who passes it to him. This comes as a shock to the whole of Team Z. Nagi has never done this before, and it's made it easier for them to defend. But now that he's in the game, both attacking and helping out defensively, Team Z may get overwhelmed. Nagi races with the ball and dribbles past one defender after another. He dribbles past Igamura with a cheeky lob and then passes the ball square to Tsugiri on the flank. To everyone's surprise, Tsugiri has a head start this time and beats Chigiri in the race to the ball. He looks up to see Nagi asking for the ball in the penalty area. Tsurugi is surprised because Nagi usually never takes the initiative or even asks for the ball, but he passes it to him anyway. The ball floats into the box, and Nagi receives it at a very tight angle. Surely he wouldn't be able to score from there, everyone thinks. Yet Nagi not only takes the ball with grace, but also manages to score an absolutely fantastic goal. The game turns on its head once again as Team V takes the lead 4-3. The one thing that Isagi and Team Z couldn't afford, the awakening of Nagi, has happened. And with only 15 minutes left on the clock, there's no time for them to stand back and defend anymore. Team Z and Isagi have to attack. After the kickoff, Bachida gets the ball from Isagi and charges forward, while Isagi keeps thinking about how he can influence the game. With one man down and a goal down, it would be impossible to come back if they concede yet another goal. He keeps thinking about how he can use his spatial awareness to change the course of the game once and for all. And just then, he figures it out. Chigiri receives the ball on the left flank, again from Bachida. He tries the same trick of outpacing Tsurugi and manages to get ahead of him. But this time, Nagi is there to defend as well. Thankfully, Isagi intercepts the ball before it can reach him. With his new ability unlocked, he's able to spot a weakness in the opposing defense and position himself to exploit it. He then looks around and makes a pass back to Chigiri, who cuts inside to make a shot. The shot is blocked, but it falls to Gagamaru, and yet again the ball is blocked by the defenders. Finally, the ball falls at a perfect range for Kunigami. He places a perfect shot to the roof of the net, and the game is yet again on equal terms. Isagi cheers in happiness as he's finally been able to unlock his ability, and the goal had gone just as he had planned. Using his ability, he can now see into the future for brief moments with all the positioning around him and the way the ball moves. Isagi can see how the goal can be made and how the opponents can be outmaneuvered. Everyone on Team Z is happy, all but Kuon, who doesn't even know how he should feel. At the moment, with Team Z drawing the game, he knows he's going to be the top goal scorer. But was it worth it? He remembers back to when he was in school and had barely managed to form a team to play football with. Even though his team was weak, he carried them to the regional quarterfinals with the hope of one day playing for the national team. But he didn't realize that his teammates didn't share his ambition. Ultimately, they lost, and that was when he finally came to the realization that his teammates didn't have the same ambition as him. And ever since then, he's worked for himself. However, now he doesn't know if that's something he wants to strive for, or if that's the type of person he wants to be. 5 minutes left in the game, and this time, Team V is planning to play from the back. However, instead of making a short pass, Tsurugi notices Nagi's run and makes a long pass. Nagi races to the ball, and Isagi is hot on his heels. He knows that if he can get past Nagi, Nagi has no option but to pass the ball to the other flank, and in doing so, Isagi can hold on until his other defenders arrive. However, just like Ronaldo, Nagi uses his back to pass the ball to himself, and with no other defenders in sight, he's clear to the goal. This is it. Just then, Nagi feels a thud and a set of arms around him, pushing him. It's Kuon, tackling him to the ground. The whistle sounds. Kuon gets a red card and is sent off the field. He doesn't know why he did it, but he tells the team to win as he leaves. 3 minutes left on the clock. Mikage then prepares to take the free kick. It's in a good range, but he probably would pass the ball to his teammates. However, Lemon, the keeper, understands that this is blue lock. Mikage would most definitely try to score the goal himself. Lemon predicts correctly as the ball is launched towards the top right corner. He makes a massive save. But the loose ball rolls towards Nagi. He dribbles past a few defenders and chips the ball towards the goal. As Isagi holds his breath, wishing for a miracle, it arrives in the form of Gagamaru, who makes a lunging dive to push the ball to Isagi's feet. The counter is now on. Isagi races with the ball, and he has 3 teammates by his side. With most of the Team V members back in their half, it would be an easy goal. However, Isagi knows that the skills possessed by the members of the team would make it difficult, so he keeps moving the ball around among his teammates as they race towards the goal. A final sideways pass. He plays the ball to Kunigami to make a long-range shot. However, Tsurugi manages to catch up to him and makes a sliding tackle. The ball is now headed out of bounds, and with only seconds remaining in the game, if it goes out of bounds, the game will be over. Thankfully, Raichi slides in and manages to save the ball from going out. He passes the ball to Bachida, who notices 3 of his teammates headed into the opponent's box. 2 of them are marked, but Isagi is free, heading to the back post. Isagi is hoping to get the ball at the back post to score, and Bachida, as planned, makes the pass to him. As the ball approaches and Isagi prepares to shoot, he realizes that Nagi has already arrived to cover him. Nagi cuts in front of him to confuse him. Suddenly, Isagi has no idea how he can outmaneuver this. The once visible goal just fades away. Should he take a touch, pass to a teammate? He's confused. Suddenly, he has no idea what to do. Just then, he remembers all his goals and puts the pieces back together. His forte in shooting is direct shots without any touches. As Nagi approaches him from behind to startle him, Isagi slams the ball into the back of the net, winning him and his team the game, 5-4. Team Z celebrates as the final whistle blows, and they've qualified for the next round of Blue Lock. Team V and Mikage look in shock, as they've just lost to the poorest team in the whole building. They're determined to do better. Everyone celebrates, as Kuon looks on. Kunigami goes to call Kuon into the celebrations as well, but Raichi reprimands him and punches Kuon to the floor, calling it even. And it's apparent that the team has already healed their differences, and there's no bad blood between them. That night, Bachida and Isagi are in the dining room discussing the new abilities that they've unlocked, and Isagi claims to have gained even more knowledge of the game after the last match. Just then, they hear a large group of players heading out of Blue Lock. They all sound sad and broken after their dreams of becoming players in the national team were now destroyed. Isagi and Bachida pause for a moment and ponder how their dreams had broken the dreams of several others. However, this doesn't make them sad. Rather, it motivates them even further. They also meet Nico, who had survived as the top scorer of Team Y. The man seems determined to win after his team lost to Team Z, and claims that he will destroy Isagi next time. Isagi smiles and tells him to bring it on. The next day, Ego appears on the big screen once again and tells them that before the next level begins, they will all do a bunch of physical training without the ball. He states that since they are the bottom of all 5 buildings, they will have to do this training until the first building's elite players finish the state-of-the-art training that they were assigned, in lieu of competing for selection. Despite being reluctant at first and eager to get on to the second selection, the whole crew begins the harsh training, and it continues for 10 long days. It's then announced that the first selection is over, and the players are instructed to get ready and proceed to the building's central basement. Isagi and the others are eager to play against the other teams. However, they're shocked to see the other players, who are 237th in rank, from Team X and Team W. Ego appears on the screen and remarks that although they've undoubtedly already noticed, only Building 5 is present in Blue Lock, which accounts for the absence of players from Buildings 1 through 4. Up until now, he had lied to them to make them believe that they were bad and fight ferociously for the initial pickup. All of this was a ploy to undermine their dubious self-assurance and instill in them a desire to be the best in the world. Ego announces that for the second selection, they will have to enter the field one by one. Team Z huddles up one last time, wishing each other luck and promising to meet on the other side. Suddenly, Rin Itoshi casually shoots a curveball and then hits it with another, leaving Isagi stunned at his skills. Rin walks to the door and enters first into the second stage tests. The others wonder if they know him. His name sounds familiar. Isagi follows him. Isagi walks down a small tunnel and finds himself in a field. A holographic Blue Lock man stands in goal, and Isagi is sent a ball from the wall beside him. A red circle appears and starts closing around him, prompting him to shoot from within it. Isagi misses a hurried shot, but then realizes this is the next test and starts making better shots. As soon as he scores the first goal, a timer of 90 minutes appears, in which he has to score a total of 100 goals. The challenge becomes even harder after the first 30 goals, as the timer doesn't reset and he has to continue scoring goals with hologram defenders present as well. Soon, the challenge gets even harder, as the balls thrown at him are no longer at the desired pace, and the defenders start moving as well. However, Isagi enjoys the challenge, and after that 10-day physical training, he has plenty of stamina to adjust himself and find a good rhythm at the test. He soon finishes the challenge and heads to the new room, which already has a bunch of competitors who had passed the challenge just like him. Moments later, Bachida also enters the place, and they are both happy to see each other. They are then told by Ego that in order to enter the next stage of the test, they need to form a group of 3. Bachida and Isagi decide to wait for Kunigami and Chigiri and take into their team whoever comes first. Suddenly, Isagi is approached by Nagi, who invites him to join Mikage's team. Mikage is taken aback by Nagi's decision. Nagi explains that Isagi was the most remarkable player in their game and that he wants to play football with him. Isagi refuses, claiming that he's on a team with Bachida. To all of their shock, Nagi then asks to be in his group instead. Mikage, frustrated, is taken even further aback, but accepts it after realizing how serious he is. The decision is all up to Isagi, and even though he wanted to wait for his friends, he knows that Nagi is the best player he knew, so he decides to take him into their team. The 3 of them head to the next level of the test. Inside, they find Rin Itoshi, Jubei Aryu, and Aoshi Tokimitsu, the 3 top players in the whole of Blue Lock, according to their new ranking. They seem to be the best of the bunch and are confident that they can win against anyone who comes their way. Once again, Ego appears on the screen to explain the rules of the next matchup. The third stage is a 3-on-3 minigame in which a Blue Lock man serves as the goalkeeper. Whichever team scores 5 goals first wins. The victorious team then steals a player from the losing team to make a 4-man squad. The fourth stage is then a 4-on-4 match. The winning team once again steals a member to create a 5-man squad. The newly formed 5-man team then clears the 5th stage and passes the second selection. The losing 3-man team becomes a 2-man squad and competes against another 2-man team. The player who is not chosen from the losing 2-man squad will be disqualified. The rules are announced. They can pick anyone to be their opponent as long as the opponents agree to play against them. This news gets Isagi and his crew excited, but the other group doesn't seem to care. They seem to be super confident, and this flares something up inside of Isagi. He walks up to them and challenges this best of the bunch to the 3-on-3 matchup. In the world of Japanese football, these 3 can be considered beasts as they are ranked highest among everyone else. They are led to a smaller football field for the 3-on-3 match, with the winner being able to steal 1 player from the losing team. The game will be decided when the first team scores 5 goals. They will each be provided with a Blue Lock holographic keeper from the last round so they can focus on scoring goals. Isagi's team is designated as the white team, while Rin's team is the red team. The game starts well for Isagi's team, with Rin and his team members on the back foot. Isagi, Bachida, and Nagi come up with a string of passes. Bachida uses his insane skills to easily get past Tokimitsu. And as he approaches Aryu, he feints, as if he's making a 1-2 pass to Isagi, but instead passes the ball to an overlapping Nagi. Nagi then leaps onto the ball with his control and serves the ball on a plate for Isagi to slam into the net, getting them the first point. A rush of confidence comes over the team. Perhaps beating the best in the whole of Blue Lock was not a big deal after all. Isagi thinks if they can keep this up, they can surely win. However, Isagi's mental calculations and dreams are shattered when Rin gets the ball. He expresses his disgust at the lack of skill and passion being displayed on the field. For Rin, football is not just a game or a dream, it's a battlefield. And in battle, one should never turn their back on their enemy. As the whistle blows, Rin surprises everyone with a bold move. He takes a shot right from the kickoff and sends the ball searing past the keeper. Rin's team now has a goal, leveling the game in an instant. He even retrieves the ball from the opposing side of the field to finish the game as quickly as possible and focus on the real challenge. Isagi and his team are taken aback by Rin's boldness and skill. He is truly a formidable opponent. Isagi tries to steady himself and reminds Rin that they too are putting their lives on the line to play the game and chase their dreams. Rin responds that it's not about the dream. They need to be ready to die for football. That's the level of passion he has for the game. Isagi refuses to give up, and the game continues with his team on the attack, determined to prove themselves against Rin's gifted team. Isagi spots an opening and makes a pass to Bachida, who in turn passes it to Nagi. But this time, Aryu out-jumps Nagi and snatches the ball right in front of him. The ball makes its way to Tokimitsu, who lacks confidence and eventually passes it back to Aryu. Bachida intercepts the ball and makes a pass to Isagi. Isagi and Aryu are locked in a battle for the ball, with Isagi shielding it well. But Aryu's flexibility gives him an advantage, and he kicks the ball right out from in front of him, scoring a powerful goal with his long legs. All Isagi can do is watch in amazement at Aryu's skill. Team White begins once again from the center, and this time the ball is with Bachida. He surveys the field and realizes that all of his teammates are tightly marked, leaving him no choice but to take on the challenge himself. Standing in his way is Tokimitsu, who, despite his high ranking, doesn't seem to be a skilled player and has low confidence. Bachida is confident in his abilities to outplay him. As the pressure mounts, Tokimitsu fears that after all the work he's done, he'll go back to his old useless self if he loses now. Negative thoughts overwhelm him, and he enters a zone, changing his entire playstyle. He quickly catches up to Bachida and grabs the ball. Tokimitsu repeatedly chants that he needs to score goals to prove his worth. His negative mindset pushes him to new heights, and that becomes his power. Isagi tries to stop him, but Tokimitsu proves too strong. Isagi resorts to fouling him, but is tossed aside in the attempt. Tokimitsu effortlessly scores another goal for his team. The confidence of Isagi and his team begins to shatter. They have relied on teamwork until now, but Rin and his team possess exceptional individual skills. They lack teamwork, yet their individual skills are enough to defeat Isagi's team. Isagi is at a loss, but Nagi comforts him and assures him that they will come up with a plan to counter their opponent's strengths. The team huddles together to devise a strategy to overcome this challenge. Instead of playing one-on-one, the team decides to switch to a 3-on-3 triangle formation in order to maintain possession and take advantage of opportunities on the field. They rely on Isagi's vision to identify these chances as the game progresses. Isagi spots an opening and rushes forward, but is met by Rin, who has anticipated his move and is already in position to stop him. Bachida, who's caught off guard by Rin's defense, decides to create a synergy with Nagi by making a pass with some clever spin on the ball. Nagi seizes the opportunity and turns to score, making the score 3-2. Nagi is impressed by the pass, as it's a stark contrast to the usual do-whatever-you-like attitude of his previous teammates. Team White is now back in the game, and Isagi tries his best to keep it that way. But as they chat once more, Rin takes a shot right from the kickoff. Thankfully, this time Isagi is there to react, pushing the ball into a corner. But their woes aren't over yet, as Rin goes to take the corner kick. Isagi thinks he has the most dangerous spot covered, but unfortunately, he forgot that Rin isn't a team player and instead goes for a vertical spin direct shot and scores. A shot of that caliber shocks everyone on the field. The score is now 4-2. Isagi and his team persist in their triangle short pass strategy. Once again, Isagi even sniffs a goal, but as always, Rin is there to stop him. That's when Isagi realizes that Rin left the spot open on purpose to showcase his superior skill. He gets possession of the ball, and despite Isagi's cries to stop him, he breezes past Nagi and Bachida. Isagi can only watch in despair as Rin's shot soars through the air in a graceful arc, cementing their defeat with a final score of 5-2. This means Rin's team can pull one member from Isagi's group to join them. Rin doesn't care who comes along, but Aryu and Tokimitsu choose Bachida for his exceptional passing skills. Though disappointed, Bachida tells Isagi that if he wants him back, he would have to come and get him and embrace the monster within himself. Feeling dejected, Isagi and Nagi wait for the other two-man teams to arrive in the second stage room. Isagi knows that they had lost due to his lack of individual skill and his dependence on his teammates. Nagi, noticing his despondency, scolds him and reminds him that he had chosen him over his only friend for football, and there was no way he was going to let him give up now. This motivates Isagi to prove that he could fight without Bachida. Nagi deduces that the purpose of this selection round was to test individual skills. Up until now, they had advanced by improving their team play. But the second selection occurs on a smaller field with fewer participants, and individual skills are having a greater impact. Nagi surmises that they are being evaluated on a personal level. Isagi now understands that this is why their team play had failed, and that succeeding in one-on-one duels was essential to making it through the second round. Though frustrated by the loss, they know that the only way to overcome this feeling is to win. Bado enters the room a little while later, and Isagi knows that in order to survive, he must defeat him. Nagi was surprised to see Bado, known as the King, and wonders if Bado wants to play against them, because he doesn't appear to be as strong as he had been before. Bado and Nagi get into a heated argument about each other's skills, but since Isagi doesn't want to take on Bado's team, he tries to calm Nagi down. A few moments later, Isagi's old teammate Naruhaya arrives. He had teamed up with Bado and another player named Hazime. However, their team had lost the previous game, with Bado scoring 4 goals, but the opposing team winning with 5. Naruhaya explains that because of Bado's selfish playstyle, he wasn't chosen as the 4th man, and he points out that they must wait 24 hours before choosing their next opponent, so they must choose wisely. Bado then belittles Hazime and Naruhaya, calling them useless. Naruhaya advises Bado to remain calm and reminds him that they are not required to select Isagi's team. Before leaving for the break room, Bado declares that he won't be hiding, and if they want, he will crush them. Nagi suggests that Isagi should choose Bado's team as their next opponent. They need a strong teammate to help them advance. Isagi agrees, but notes that they are not on Bado's level. He recalls that during their last game, their weapons only functioned when they received passes. In order for them to shine, they need a player like Bachida or Mikage, who understands their weapons and is adept at passing. The next day, Isagi is training with a Blue Lock man. He acknowledges that his abilities are growing, but he still must improve and acquire comparable abilities if he's going to compete with the other talented players. Naruhaya enters the training room and notices Isagi. He asks if he's chosen a team yet. Isagi replies that he hasn't, as they don't want to take a weak teammate. Naruhaya understands the difficulty of the decision and reminds Isagi that they still need to take risks, even if they risk being eliminated. He challenges Isagi to the next game, where their aspirations are on the line. Isagi, determined to prove himself, accepts the challenge